Hello everyone and welcome to the Jyotishi YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about astrology as a science. One of the reasons why we chose this topic is because today people have a myth or a concept in their head that astrology is not a science and it could be related to a lot of mumbo jumbo that is going around in the world. So today we are going to debunk this myth. So if you have any questions in your head around Vedic astrology, be keen on listening to this video. Maybe we would debunk those myths. If any of them are left at the end of the session, do write them in the comments below. So there is a standard misconception or a common misconception amongst people that astrology is not a science, but it is more of something that is what people define as mumbo jumbo, right?
Yes.
How can we prove or how can we say that astrology is a science?
Yeah, so as per Vedas, astrology is called Hora Shastra. So Hora is about Ahoratra, the day and night, and Shastra is loosely translated as science.
Okay.
Actually, Shastra is not science.
Is Shastra a textbook by any sense?
No, Shastra, I'll try and explain what is Shastra. So, its derivation is from the word called Shastra, which is an instrument. And science is just one portion of it. So, for example, we have our Shushumna Nadi, we have our Pingala and Ida. So, primarily science focuses on left brain, logical brain. X, Y, Z is the input, A is the output. And if the output is desired for n number of population, it becomes a theorem. Something like that. So in Shastra, what happens is, there is a right brain involved,
Okay.
and there is a left brain involved. So there is a logical brain, and there is also a component of
Creativity.
very large, emotional, creative component. So that is the Ida and the Pingala Nadi involved. And when these two get together, and when there is an aspect of combination of these two things, your Sushumna gets activated. So that is something called a knowledge level which is beyond the logical and the emotional aspect. So to kind of correlate. It is not an exact example, but when Tendulkar is in the field, there is electrification. So that electrification is the combination of the right and the left brains kind of a thing.
Okay.
So here science is, we are talking here only about the logical kind of component. The astrology here is primarily focusing on both the components plus the electrification component. So over the years, what has happened is, we have there is a science, the logical portion of it, and there is also a portion where a lot of people with intuitive capabilities have come up.
Okay.
And since a lot of intuitive capabilities has come up, it has kind of, the terminology is kind of deviated from a science portion to an art kind of portion from a customer perspective. So it is more to do with art than to do with science. But actually, if you see, it is a science.
Okay.
From that perspective. So if you remember any 1,000 great inventions in the last maybe a century kind of a thing, you will kind of notice that probably only 30% or 40% remain today. So what I'm trying to say is, anything which has lasted 100 years, 500 years, a century, or even if it has lasted 5,000 years. So for example, the first mention of this was from the Vedas. The astrology's first mention is from the Vedas. So anything which has lasted 5,000 years, you can be dead sure that it has tested the time of market. So what we learn in economics, right? So for example, anything which has to remain in the market has to pass the test of the customers from that perspective.
Right. So astrology as a science also talks about the planets, right?
Yes.
The influence of the planets on the microcosm and the macrocosm.
Yes.
So A very simple example could be, the moon's impact on the waves,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when it is a full moon day,
Yes.
we have a high tide in the ocean,
Exactly.
right? And similarly, when it is a low moon, when there is a no moon day,
Yes.
then the tide is very low,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now, how does this, since this is something that people can see, right? The
Yes.
impact of the moon.
Yes.
How are the other planets influencing?
Yes.
So Anand, also, Lord Rama and Lord Krishna are mentioned as mythological
Yes.
beings, right,
Yes.
on the earth. But is there any mention about them in the scriptures that they actually walked our planet?
Yes, absolutely. So Valmiki Ramayana or even Adhyatmik Ramayana, it clearly talks about various implications of astrology in the Ramayana. So, for example, Lord Rama, whom we regard as one of the greatest seventh incarnation and one of the greatest Purushas representing the Mahapurusha representing the ultimate energy, his birth is clearly described as Punarvasu Nakshatre, Navami Tithe. So it is very, very clear that he was, and 5 planets in Swa and Ucha. 5 planets are in either in own houses or they are Ucha, means they are exalted. So it is clearly mentioned, the Krishna's birth, also it is clearly mentioned that he was born in Rohini Nakshatra. So absolutely there is, for example, you would know about Ravan. Ravana probably controlled the planets and then wanted a particular position so that Indrajit can be born.
Right.
So he had those kind of powers. So there is a very beautiful and clear mention of astrology right from 5,000 years or 10,000, we don't know the time frame. But there is a clear cut mention about astrology, Vedic astrology or Jyotisha in the system. So Jyotisha and astrology are 2 components. I mean, they are not exactly the same. So Vedic astrology talks about the planetary movements and their impact on human life. Jyotisha talks about the karma concept. So you come into this world with a particular karma, you fulfill your duties, exhaust those karma and then merge with the reality. So Jyotisha is it's a larger space as compared to Vedic astrology.
It's maybe the superset of
Yes, exactly.
Vedic astrology.
The typical impact of moon in astrology parlance, it is mind, mana. So my moon on the person. So for example, you would have noticed people with very weak mind are kind of asked to take care when there is no light, when the situation is called, the tithi is called Amavasya. So it is directly correlated because if the nature has influence, automatically body is also 72% water, so automatically it has to have some kind of influence. So from that perspective, so you would also notice that the reproductive cycle is directly related to 27 nakshatras. So from that perspective, what are the salt content in the water and the sea water and the body water. So the nature and human interface are kind of directly correlated. So if there is an effect on the nature, it definitely has to have an effect on the human body.
So this is very visible to us, right? Where we can see the moon and its impact. But
Yes.
what about the other planets which are mentioned in the...
Yes.
There are planets like Jupiter, which you really don't see an impact on the Earth,
Yes.
right? So how does that...
So technically, graha and planet are not same. So our rishis probably described the effect of grahas on people on this earth. So graha is technically, so for example, sun and moon is a satellite, sun is a planet, and the remaining are nodal points. Rahu and Ketu are nodal points on the axis.
Yes.
So they are technically not planets from a English perspective.
Okay.
So but graha is something which was probably visible for a rishi through a naked eye and which had a movement. So this is the definition of graha as per our Vedas. So we are here talking about grahas, and if earth is a surface, any object which probably has its impact on the earth is taken as a graha. So for example, Neptune and Uranus and all that are not included in Horashastra primarily because their impact on earth and the people in earth is not there, or it is minimal from a Vedic astrology point of view.
Yeah.
So the theory is kind of divided into three. So Vedanga, there are 6 Vedangas, and Jyotisha is one of those Vedanga. Vedanga means the limb of the Vedas,
Yes.
Anga of the Vedas. And out of those 6 Angas, Jyotisha has 3 basic components. So one is Ganita, which deals with the astronomy. So if you kind of figure out the positions, what was mentioned in the Surya Siddhanta and what was probably mentioned in Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra. So Parashara is Parasharat Madam Vande Sukadadam Taponidhi. So Vyasa's father is called Parashara. So he is his text is kind of the Bible of Hora Shastra. So Hora is one portion of his. Then we have Ganita, which is astronomy. Then we have Samhita, which talks about mundane astrology.
Okay.
So mundane astrology talks about the seasons. Then it talks about the collective impact of astrology on human life.
I think one striking thing that you spoke about here that came up is we see the sun as the center of the universe and all the planets going around it.
Yes.
But in astrology, the earth becomes the center in the sense that we try to see the earth is of course going around the sun in its orbit.
Yes.
But what is the impact of the other planet that affects our life is what we are trying to see.
Yes. So there are 2 points of view. One is geostationary. Geostationary means from the earth, how do the planets revolve?
Okay.
And then one is from a Surya point of view. From
Okay.
Surya's point of view, how are the other planets moving around?
Moving around, yeah.
So Vedic astrology also talks about not just the solar system, it also talks about a layer on top of that.
Okay.
And it's called the pole star Dhruva. I don't know if you know the story of Dhruva. Dhruva kind of the pole star, and from there the same 360 degree space is divided into 27 nakshatras.
Yes.
So that is a starting point there, and this is a revolving kind of a.
Maybe we can go deeper into nakshatras
Yes,
in the next.
later videos.
Yes. You know, astrology, like Anand mentioned, comes from the Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra. Right? The Hora Shastra has both the logical component as well as the creative component to it, which represents the Ida Nadi and the Pingala Nadi, which is your, the left Nadi and the right Nadi, and which also activates the power of intuition. When both of this come together, it also activates the power of intuition. Now, as Anand also mentioned, astrology is not just about the planet, but also the impact of the planet on one's own life and the earth as a whole, right? So if you look at it, we spoke about the concept of the moon on a full moon day, how there is a high tide, and on a no moon day there is a low tide, right? So that is one direct impact of the planet on our surroundings, right? So that is how you put it across. And also another, very, you might also be wondering, how does this play a role in one's life? Like for example, when you take a twin, when twins are born, they are mostly born like a couple of minutes apart. But if you look at it, their lives might be poles apart, right? One might end up being a doctor, the other might end up being an engineer, right? One might do very well in life, right? The other might do okay in life, right? So there are certain, and this is them being born at the same time and also being cultured and also being raised in the same family and in the same environment. So this is where astrology can go in great detail to explain why the lives of two twins are poles apart or very different from each other. I hope we debunked some myths for you. If not, if you have certain questions or certain myths that you think you would like to be debunked, please leave them in the comments below and we would like to take that up in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching the Jyotishi YouTube channel.